Hey, what's going on, guys? John here. So in this video, got a little quarantine haircut. In this video, I'm gonna switch it up because I'm tired of the media, the news. Everything's fear mongering. I just canceled my Comcast. It was like 600 channels. Canceled it because I'm just tired of it. When I got into real estate in 2008, everyone was saying the same thing. The world's coming to an end. Real estate will never be the same. In 2021, we'll still be here. 2022, we'll still be here. America's been here since 1776 and it'll live and fight another day. So don't listen to the news, all that scare tactics. Just don't listen to it. What you should be looking at is the world as a whole. The world is going through a big change. So I don't care if you are a doctor, a lawyer, you work at a pizza shop, or you work on a boat in Thailand delivering produce to tourists. You're being touched by this pandemic. And this is a good chance for you to maybe take a step back and reassess your current line of work, your current strategy, and your current competitive advantage. And also take a look at consumer debt. Consumer debt's changed so much in a predatory way that banks are now taking advantage of consumers at a bigger level than they've ever done in the past. And I'm going to talk about why that is. And I'm going to talk about where you should be investing in this upcoming recession to set you up for radical success, huge success. And this is going to be a big change from what we've been listening to over the last couple months. So please smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.
The unemployment rate, according to Goldman Sachs, hit at 25%, rivaling the 1929 Great Depression. Think about that. 100 years has gone by since we've seen a recession like the one they're predicting. Right now, I believe that recession is going to trump the 1929 Great Recession. The reason I do is it doesn't matter if you're a banker, if you work at a bakery, or if you work on a boat in Thailand. You're feeling this recession. It's a global pandemic. Everyone is being affected by this. More than a third of U.S. workers could be unemployed when counting people who are too discouraged to search for a job and those who can only find part-time work, which is going to be very common because there's going to be a lot of employers out there that are cautious about spending money, over leveraging themselves, putting themselves in a dangerous position because just about every employer, with the exception of Amazon and a few others, have suffered major losses by overextending themselves, possibly overhiring. And so that they're going to feel this and they're going to be a bit more cautious moving forward. And they go on to say weakness could cause severe scarring effects such as permanent layoffs and business closures that delay the recovery. Job losses hit in a historic 36.5 million people out of work in just over 2 months, with an additional 3 million Americans join unemployment ranks in just the last week. So you really start to do the numbers here. 36.5 million people were let go or fired in just 2 months. So in places like Los Angeles, they're talking about extending this stay-at-home order through July, meaning we would get back to normalcy or some type of normalcy in August. So 36.5 million now. I believe in another month, there's already right now so many people that are barely hanging on. I believe by next month, we will easily get into that 50 million unemployed type of figure. So right now it's mid-May. I would say by June 15th, we'll probably be somewhere around that 15 million. That's a conservative number. There's some great news to this, believe it or not. So with all these people laid off, out of work, fired, businesses going under, there's two ways to look at this. The glass could be half empty or half full. For me, I personally see this as a great opportunity to review the system and structure that society has in place for, people going to high school and going to college and fulfilling the quote-unquote American dream. The American dream has changed, I would want to say probably 25 years ago. It no longer makes sense to go to school for the median degree and earn $70,000 a year and dive into a mountain of debt to have zero certainty of having a good job. So I've listed out 4 reasons why college is becoming questioned. Number 1, the illusion of safety. What used to be a guaranteed job, a guaranteed safety net and stability, has recently turned into an exercise of musical chairs. There just aren't enough jobs for everybody. And nowadays, with businesses transferring, going from brick and mortar in person locations to now going online, businesses are changing and industries are changing so rapid and so quickly that most of these high paying jobs today you can start yourself online with little to no startup capital and no degree is required. Academic inflation. In 1970, 1980, 1990, you going to college and having a college degree meant something. You were a select few that went and finished the course, obtained great grades, and employers respected that. They admired it and they wanted to pay for it. Today, everyone has a college degree for the most part, and having that degree alone is not enough. They want the degree plus they want experience. They want to see that you've been in the field, that you've failed, how you've succeeded through failures, and what you can bring to their company to help them realize their potential. And that's why they're going to pay the big bucks. However, they're not going to pay the big bucks right when you first get out of college. And unfortunately, that's when college payments for student loans begin. When you get out of college, get that job, and now you're strapped in a ton of debt. And so your new bachelor's degree is becoming increasingly worthless as more and more people just graduate from college and jobs slowly begin to disappear. The next is drowning in debt. On average, the cost for 1 year of attendance at 4-year public college or university costs 40% of a family's income. And on average, approximately 40% of students leave school with debt of 22 grand. If you're from a family that earns between $40,000 and $50,000 a year, that number jumps to 28,000. Middle-class families will have more debt from student loans than their upper-class peers, who can pay for their education outright, and their lower-class peers who often qualify for grants or financial assistance. You might end up paying $1,000 a month for 20 years for 4 years of school for a degree that may likely be worthless. And number 4, your professors just don't care at all. I mean, many professors are far more interested in tenure and their research and being published in a paper than they are about making sure you get the best education so you have the highest probability of success. They grade you on curves so you can't possibly fail, and the curriculum never changes, which to me makes very little sense unless you are practicing to become a medical doctor, you're in med school, or possibly an attorney, just training and learning and gaining the education to become an attorney. Most industries are changing rapidly, yet most textbooks are very outdated. And with all that said, student loan debt is 1.6 trillion. 1.6 trillion. Just unbelievable. One of my really good friends that I grew up with, he went to art school in Philadelphia. And he told me, I want to say maybe 8 years ago, he said, the worst mistake I ever made, John, was going to art school. And I said, why? And he said, nowadays, things are just done online, on a computer. They can digitally produce what would take me a week or 2 weeks to produce that would take 100 hours of work. They could do it online very, very quick at low cost. And I put myself in so much debt that now I can't afford to buy a home. I can't afford to buy a home, and now I'm just paying down student loan debt, and I won't get out until I'm in my mid-40s. And that's not an uncommon issue. That happens very often. And I mean, he was so talented. I mean, just a real talented guy. And that doesn't really matter. Unfortunately, it just doesn't really matter. And the same applies with just about all degrees. Your talent is only worth what the marketplace is willing to pay. And in this ever changing economy, what the marketplace is willing to pay is just less and less and less than it was yesterday. So take that into consideration. If you do decide to go to college, make sure you pick the right degree and make sure you're not going to overpay for it and be stuck in a ton of consumer debt. So now with this lockdown, you have all of these people out of work, 36.5 million people out of work, large chunk of which have student loan debt, and the rest are banking on these tiny little stimulus checks which do not cover even a fraction of their monthly expenses. Let's take a look at what average monthly expenses would look like for someone in the middle class. Rent, $1,500. Food, $150 per week, so $600 per month. A car, $500 a month. And with that car, I'm factoring in a Honda Civic, maybe $150 car payment, plus the car insurance, plus gas, and add in like a $50 credit for any type of repairs, oil changes, things like that. And then $300 for miscellaneous expenses, cell phone, utilities for the apartment, and going out with your friends occasionally. So this is a very, very, very conservative budget, plus student loans and credit card debt of $500 per month. That's $3,400 per month. $3,400 per month. Did you know that credit card interest rates are the highest that they've been in 25 years? 25 years, the highest interest rates they've ever been. And you ask yourself, why? Why is that? Why the current rise? Well, a law passed after the last recession in 2009 that allowed banks to increase their interest rates to current customers, the new customers that they could bring in that would be their current customer. So think about that. So banks started pulling in new customers by sending them, I'm sure you've gotten the introductory offers in the mail, whatever they can do to try to pull you over from Bank of America if you're at Chase, or Chase if you're at Bank of America, whatever they can possibly do to bring you over so they can try to pull these predatory interest rates from you. But most people aren't really thinking about it. They see the really attractive introductory offer and they move forward, they take it, and then after 6 months or a year, when that introductory offer is no longer, now they're stuck on 18%, and then it's probably an 18% adjustable, and then before you know it, they're 20 or 25% interest. And then what happens is that most people can't afford to pay off the balance, so then they're stuck in this endless cycle of consumer debt. So let's take a look and see how this would affect most people that are out of work right now with fixed hard costs that they have to pay every single month at $3,400 per month. And this takes everything into consideration with the stimulus checks, because what happens? People are at home, they're bored, they have nothing to do, and they're online spending money, buying things they probably do not need. So all of this money that comes in is really just going right back out there. And as the bills accumulate, so does the credit card debt, and so does the consumer debt. So let's say you're out of work just for 1 month, and with that 1 month, you decide to finance that on a credit card at 18% interest rate. So you'd essentially pay back $4,523.13 if you were to make the minimum payments. Now, if you're out of work beginning the start of this lockdown, which is March, so you're out of work from March, and let's say you're out of work all the way until December, because Dr. Fauci, as well as many other quote-unquote specialists, are saying there will be a second wave of COVID, and that wave will last until the winter, which would be November, December. So that being said, 9 months at $3,400 per month at 18% interest is $45,323. That is almost like taking on a university bill. University, 4-year school, paying back $45,000 just because of this COVID situation. So that is a blanket bill that is spread across the world, because most people will be out of work. They're saying 1 in 3 people will be out of a job. So sounds negative. It's actually not. There's a ton of opportunity here if you look through the fog and see what is the future. And the future is beautiful. And I mean that because right now people are waking up and they're more awake today than ever. People are now becoming more independent, more entrepreneurial. They don't want to rely on a boss. And this shakeout of jobs will result in more entrepreneurs stepping up and saying, you know what, this will never happen to me again. I'm going to create my own business. I'm going to protect and provide for my family. I'm never going to rely on a boss. I'm never going to rely on a stimulus check. I'm never going to rely on the government ever again. And this ultimately is going to change lives for the better. It's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of people. However, I think long term, this is going to be just such a great thing for everyone. So that is the main positive, is going to be independence, long-term independence. And they're going to be investing long-term. They're going to be investing in real estate and passive income deals that can change their life and their family's life, because a smart entrepreneur is not thinking about today and tomorrow. They're thinking about 50 years, 100 years out from now. And they're going to see the pain that they're feeling today, and they're going to say, you know what, my son will never feel this pain. If my son has a child, that child will never feel this pain because of all the actions that I'm going to take today, and how I'm going to invest my money is going to ensure that. You know, right now, just about everywhere throughout America, people are going on rent strikes. They don't want to pay rent because they can't afford to pay rent. They want the landlord to work with them, cooperate with them, possibly relieve any type of rent obligation that they have to pay. They are desperate to do whatever they possibly can do to stay afloat. It's just the human nature to survive. And that being said, this is going to not be easy on the renter. In recessions, rents increase, they do not decrease. And the reason for that is when you are a landlord, you're offering a low cost entry level product into the market. So it costs less money to move into that apartment than it would to buy an apartment building or a house or a condo. And so that's the freedom. It's the flexibility to move in and move out. However, for tenants, when a recession hits hard, they can't buy a house. They can't buy a rental property for the most part because they are cash poor. And that being said, landlords understand that, and landlords tend to increase rents. Rents continue to increase. And this recession, what I think will be different in this recession than former recessions, will be this recession will be felt across all industries. So landlords will be a bit more cooperative during this. However, once we start to feel that balance in December and January and so on, they're going to begin increasing rents. They're going to be looking for more qualified tenants, and a lot of the existing tenants that they had will be either removed or evicted, and then rents are just going to continue to increase. So this is right now the time to learn and understand real estate and to get ready, because the chance of a lifetime is coming to buy real estate, undervalued real estate. And just to put this into perspective, and I'm going to run through these locations rather quickly. Austin, Texas, 30% of gross income goes to living. And this is not living in a great part of Austin. This is living kind of outside the city. It's 30%. Baltimore, 33%. And again, this doesn't factor in for student loans or consumer debt, nothing. 33% to be in Baltimore. Denver, 34.8%. Miami, 38%. Seattle, almost 40% of gross income goes to an apartment. Riverside, 42.3%. Boston, 44.5%. LA, 50%. 50% of gross income goes to an apartment in LA. San Diego, 52.2%. In San Francisco, 55.9%. And San Francisco is just like New York City in that regard. They're right around that 50 to 60% of gross income just to have an apartment there. Just have an apartment. And just realize that every single year the rent's going up by 3%. So is that number. That number is just going to continue to increase. So take this into consideration. We're going to be stepping into a new world, a new economy. Things are going to be done in ways that they were never done in the past. And incorporating real estate investing into your future is what's going to put you in that position to really benefit on these gains and on the high cost of rent.
And so with all that said, what do you do? So you learn what you need to know to succeed in this new economy. That's what you do. With investing is like a competition. You're competing with other investors in your marketplace. And the more you know, the better you're going to do. So first thing is, you don't want to be a man of many things, a master of nothing. Meaning, don't do stocks, don't do real estate and Forex, try to do all these things and achieve very little results. Pick one thing that you want to be great at and master it, really master it. If it's going to be stocks, you're going to need more skill today than you would have ever needed. Meaning that it's going to be more challenging to pick the winners, because in the next 12 months, 18 months, there'll be a lot of companies that are going to be going bankrupt, that'll be closing doors and doing whatever they can possibly do to try to survive. And real estate, for the other hand, is going to be the best. And meaning there's going to be so many investors going to be losing their properties, going into bankruptcy. There's going to be so many people trying to sell their properties, and there's going to be less qualified buyers to go out and buy them. So supply and demand. It's going to be much easier to find these great deals because mortgage lenders are looking for 2 years of stable income, looking for decent credit, and they're looking for these borrowers more so than ever. So we're going to shift into an incredible buyer's market. And if you know what you're doing in real estate, you'll make a fortune. And if you want to learn about real estate, you want to learn about passive income, click the link in my bio. If you need help improving your credit score or just reviewing deals, you need that support, that system, that structure to put you on the fast track to succeed and make a ton of money, click the link in my bio and join my mentorship program. So that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.